All right, hey guys, Ham Solo here. Kilo Zero Foxtrot Yankee Romeo, or in GMRS world, WRMV 759. So, I've been asked to look at the shit hit the fan scanning channels and to find out is there anything in my area that is scannable as far as those channels. Now, Better Safe Radio programs their Wouxun or Wouxun radios in order to have multiple federal channels and National Guard channel frequencies, your local, fire department, police department, and so forth. You have to understand that a lot of those departments nationwide now have gone 700 or 800 megahertz, and a lot of those are what's called P25 protocol, which basically is a trunking type system. And unless you have a digital type software, it is very hard to track those unless you have one of those kind of radios. Now, the shit hits the fan channels that he has in there are VHF channels or UHF channels that are just regular simplex analog type, either repeaters or direct channels. And that's what's going to actually be used in the event of shit hits the fan. Because believe me, there will be no digital anything if something really bad happens. Not only that, but when you bring multiple agencies into an area, they cannot communicate because they don't always have the access to the systems, those P25 systems, whatever area they go. So even when we just did that big wildland fire over there in Teller County, established a VHF simplex repeater system where we were. And so that's why those channels are in there. You won't be able to track, like I'm in Colorado Springs right now, you won't be able to track Colorado Springs Fire, Colorado Springs Police with these radios because they're not P25 digital radios. But if anybody was on those analog channels, you would be able to track them. And so I have the KG-UV9G Pro, and it's a dual band or two bank radio. And I have both banks scanning the shit hits the fan channels. And I also have a KG-916 radio. And it is also scanning the shit hits the fan radios. Now this one is ARCRPW, so it's some public works type frequency, but it's not sticking on it very long, and you're getting that intermittent kind of like a digital type sound. Again, nothing intelligible coming out of that. It is just, and that might be accidentally scanning a digital frequency, because, I mean, when he enters those frequencies in these radios, it's just usually nationwide that he got those frequency allocations from. It doesn't mean that in this area they haven't decided to digitize that channel. Can barely make out any audio on that. And so now I did exclude the med channels because I don't really care about scanning the medical channels. Like I said, most of your med agencies have gone digital, but even so, I made so many medical runs when I was in the fire department, I don't care to hear any of that stuff, and so I skipped all the med channels. And so right now, again, that's an aircraft public works, or ARCRPW, not really sure, I'll try to look that one up. It's running through some of the GMRS channels, and then most of the stuff after that is Fed PD, tactical channels, United States Army Reserve, and it keeps getting stuck on that crew or ARCRPW. So had to find out what that is. All right, see if I can go up the hill. Crawled up a hill. I've got both radio scanning, so it's 3 different banks of channels scanning, and so far only one single channel has had any traffic on it at all, and that's the one that seems like it's a combo digital channel. And so not getting really good signal on it, and I'm gonna have to sit there and see if I can bypass that somehow. I'll take that out of my repeater bank, but right now I'm not getting anything on any of these scanning frequencies for the Shit Hits the Fan. Now, that being said, the KG-UV9G Pro is VHF and UHF, and it can also go in scanning into 700 or 800 area. And so this one is multi different types of bands. So 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 700 or 800 megahertz scanning is what this one will do. In comparison, the KG-916, this is that's that same repeater. Anyway, the KG-916 is UHF only. So this will only scan UHF channels. So the 400 megahertz channels, 400-ish megahertz, and I think that's 400 to around 500, I think is that frequency bank, and I'll look that up for you. But that's all this one will scan. And so if you were counting on this for your Shit Hits the Fan stuff, sure, can it do some of the ham radio bands as well? Yes, there are UHF ham bands. And apparently there are several, the United States Army Reserve, come on. So United States Army Reserve, some of the Fed channels, there's Fed PD channels, air channels of some sort, some other TAC channels, not a whole lot of in this one. So maybe in the Shit Hits the Fan section, there might be 30 or 40 channels in this that you can scan that are UHF. This one has far more, well over 100 channels, VHF, UHF, and 700 and 800 megahertz this will scan. And so, as far as a scanning type radio, this one here has more functionality compared to the KG-916. Now, I haven't really scanned before on any of those channels. I only use these for my GMRS. And so I've scanned GMRS channels, all the ones in Denver that are in that repeater club and so forth. But I haven't used them for the Shit Hits the Fan stuff. But the capability is there for both radios, other than this one will only do UHF 70 centimeter channels. So, again, I'll have them sitting here on scan, and this, whatever that one single channel is, the only one that these have gotten stuck on any of those scanning banks. And so, not really sure who it is, but as soon as I get home, I'm going to take those channels out of here because that is annoying as hell. So, again, I'll leave them just open scan for right now, and we'll see if we can get any type of signal other than whatever is happening on that one channel. So, walked up that hill from down there, just kind of sitting here scanning the channels, seeing what's active. And so far, that is all I've heard. That's that one same channel that comes in on all of my scanning channels, and I believe it's digitized, and so I'm only getting partial signal out of it. And so again, I'm going to remove those channels as soon as I get back down. Back to the QTH where my computer is with my programming cable. But other than that, I have heard no traffic on any of the other Shit Hits the Fan channels as of yet. And so, ongoing process, leaving the thing scanning. Again, that's that same channel you can hear breaking the squelch. So we'll let these run for a little bit. So no noticeable audio, and I only get intermittent words every now and then anyway. So that's all right now on these frequencies. All right, opened up the PDF with all the channels and have found out what that channel is. It says it is the American Red Cross Portable Repeater West. It is an FM channel 464.550, and that's the one that this thing keeps stopping on. So American Red Cross Portable Repeater West, and not very intelligible as far as whatever is on it. Yep, and to confirm on the KG-916, it's the same channel. American Red Cross Portable Repeater West, 464.5500. All right, so as I'm looking through the channels that it scans on the KG-916, UHF only, I am scanning Interstate Commerce Commission, U.S. Department of State, Department of Labor, U.S. Federal Government Shared, U.S. Federal Protection, U.S. Federal Government Portable. Looks like UHF Incident Response, Federal Interoperability, National Call, Incident Response Interoperability Channels, Search and Rescue, Law Enforcement Interoperability, Non-Federal National Interoperability, National Interagency Fire Center, all of those med channels that I skipped, Urban Search and Rescue, American Red Cross. So that's what's on this one for the most part, as far as the shit hits the fan frequencies. All right, now have the scan list for the shit hits the fan for the KG-UV9G Pro. And of course, because it's doing VHF as well, there's a lot more channels. So, fire, interdepartment emergency channels, law enforcement intersystem check channels, national law enforcement mutual aid, United States National Guard emergencies, that's VHF, United States National Disaster Preparedness, immigration and customs enforcement, federal law enforcement common, customs and border protection, civilian agency emergency government, U.S. Department of Housing, Interstate Commerce, Department of State, United States Marshal, Channel 1, United States Marshal Ops, Department of Energy, United States Air Force Special Investigations, Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Department of Alcohol, Customs and Border Protection, Ops, Common, Tactical, and Transportation, United States Secret Service, United States CIA, United States FBI, Department of Justice, Federal Disaster Network, United States Federal Prisons, Federal Protection, a lot of interoperability channels. Interoperability, these are going to be like simplex radio to radio. Law enforcement versions of those, general public safety versions of those, fire versions of those. And again, whenever we coordinate, I can tell you this from the fire service, and we have multiple departments coming from out of different areas, we'll always go to these VHF common channels. We call them like V-Fire 21 or there's the 7Fire 63 or whatever. These are all those interoperability channels, simplex channels. 154.280 is the national interagency fire channel, and that one's obviously in here. And so there's versions of those on 700 megahertz. They're listening to those on this radio, and so there's 700 megahertz versions of those, and there's also VHF versions of those. So VCall 10, VTAC 11.
Can you just give me a steak sandwich? Sounds good.
That's somebody on the American Red Cross asking for a steak sandwich. Nice. So, non-federal VHF national interoperability. And again, that's law enforcement. They're in the 150s range. There's UHF versions of the same ones. 800 megahertz, it's monitoring those. Mutual aid channels. These National Incident Radio Support Cache. Command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the ones we actually used on the High Park fire in Teller County. And so those are scannable channels in this radio. Smoke jumpers primary, smoke jumpers tactical, ground ops, air tactical. Let's see. Here's the V-Fire 21. That's the National Mutual Aid Common 154.280. And then it's got all those med channels, and there's like almost 100 of them. Really terrible. And then you have the local search and rescue. So I know like Teller County Search and Rescue uses these 155 channels. And then the USAR Search and Rescue channels, those are the ones I used when I was on Texas Task Force 1. And then it goes into the American Red Cross. And then after that, it moves out of the shit hits the fan and goes into 900 megahertz search and cell phone frequencies. Cordless phone base FM, which is kind of weird. I didn't know you could do that. But it's here in the radios. Hey guys, well that's pretty much the end of the video. I came home and immediately removed the American Red Cross channel that kept locking up, and made sure that I had those about 60 or so med channels out of both radios, just because it's irritating. I've had them on now for about, I'd say, well over 24 hours. And there's only been very, very little traffic on any of those channels for the scanning. And again, a lot of it is most of the area where I'm at went digitized or digital, 800 megahertz and so forth, P25 trunking. And so in a real time of emergency, sure, these channels are going to be flooded with traffic. Haven't had any search and rescue calls in the last day. Haven't had any wildland fires. It's been raining here quite a bit each day, so I haven't had any wildland fires either. And so basically, I haven't heard hardly anything on these channels. If they do lock on anything, it's pretty far away and it's a little staticky. And so it's not that the channels don't work. It's just that where I'm at, it's just not something that would be a daily use until those frequencies are needed. And again, there's just nothing going on right now. And so the regular P25 system is up and running. And that might be a separate video because I now have my SDR, my little radio software-defined USB. I have it plugged into a computer that I just put Linux on, and I've been decoding the P25 fire channels through it. And so that is an option. It's very cheap. I mean, $25 for the SDR dongle. And as long as you set up the software correctly, which it took me a little bit, but as long as you set up the software correctly, you're able to do decode the P25 trunking, which I have set up right now in my room. And so, you know, I'll have to sit there and look at that and see if that's something that I want to make a video about. Y'all can let me know in the comments if you wanted to see anything like that. And other than that, that's going to be the end. So appreciate y'all watching. This is Ham Solo, K0FYR or WRMV759, 73.